look who stopped by from the University of Oregon, the Big Ten champs in their first foray into the B1G. One of the top NFL draft prospects, certainly at the quarterback position, Dillon Gabriel here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Dillon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and the White Lotus talk got me thinking as well, so I'm glad I'm here.
Okay. Have you been watching that show? Do you watch that show, Dillon?
I do. It's been a late night couple, time together, and we watched a little White Lotus, but finished the season out last night.
Oh, okay.
So you did.
So you're
not
in.
spoiling.
Okay.
You're in. What'd you think of the finale, Dillon?
Ooh, it was a tough twister at the end to find out post decision making.
Yes.
But he made that decision, and then I think he accepted his fate at that point. So that's where I think it went back to that conversation they had at breakfast.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Rich, you see how good Dillon is? He didn't give it away.
That's right.
He gave it away, but he didn't give it away.
Well done,
Very
Dillon.
smart. Well done. That's a leader.
That's a leadership right there. That's
leadership.
No red flags. Actually, had you spoiled
red
it,
flags.
would have been a red flag.
Yep.
It'd have been a red flag.
100%.
You know how this works in the evaluation. Everything's an evaluation. You know what I mean?
100%.
Everything's smart. You worked that huddle very well right there.
Yes, sir.
No, listen, I'm with you. I just thought again how do I not give anything away?
We're walking a fine line.
No,
Tell him how you felt this morning, Rich.
Well, no, what I thought that the way things ended for the Ratliff family, I thought I needed to see more of the consequences. There was just a punt on a lot that went down with that family, Dillon.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Another great opportunity to avoid a red flag that Dillon Gabriel just did. You have no idea how your draft stock goes up when you agree with me. You'll find that out. You'll find that out. So, where are you now in your pre-draft process? Are you done working out with everybody? Have you seen everybody, or do you still have more planned? Where are you right now, Dillon?
So right now I'm in Huntington Beach, California, just training still. Still have another visit and private workout set up. So just want to get right for that. But it's been a lot of back and forth and, life in a backpack, to be quite honest.
Okay. So I know the workout is private, but what team is it? I'll ask, Dillon.
I'd love to say so, but I'd be wrong doing that.
Okay.
However,
yes,
I will say that I do have one more visit and one more private workout.
Okay, so. One more visit, one more private workout.
And a little mystery. We've been in the White Lotus talk. A little mystery leads to a little fun. You can leave it up to your imagination.
Okay. Very, very, very good. As long as listen, just stay away from the smoothies.
100%.
Okay. So, how many teams have you spoken to then? What do you got for me? What numbers do you have on this front?
I think throughout this process, you Zoom with everyone, honestly, and I think you realize what's box checking and what's not. But I think, with meetings at the Combine, then you do visits, and then even a private workout. I'd love to say that's a little tell that, there's a interest on both sides, but for the most part, too, I've heard a lot of stories where you get drafted to teams that you have never talked to. So I think it's different for the quarterback position. So you do know a little bit in that sense, but still for me, I think you have conversations and you see where it leads to.
Yeah, I mean, it is rare for a quarterback to be drafted by a team that hasn't even communicated with him at all pre-draft. And the only time that just leaps out at me is Jay Cutler got drafted by the Broncos in the first round, and they didn't even, they were just looking at him from afar. Apparently, they didn't even talk to him. So you're right; it is rare when it comes to that. When you say the box checking, what do you think the box? What's generally the boxes that you've been asked to check? Do you think, Dillon?
No, I say box checking, and are we just doing this, for
I see,
homework's sake, or are we doing it for true interest? And I think even saying that, you can tell that within a conversation. A lot of Zooms, it's crazy how much you can learn within 30 to 45 minutes, and you just appreciate the guys that are diving into that or even creating a connection, because you also realize too that in this football world, some way, somehow, you'll probably be connected at one point or another. So just trying to make the most of it and be present within that moment.
I guess I was using box checking in terms of the as a term used by evaluators saying, well,
Yep.
this kid has this flair and I saw it on tape. I need to see it in person. I'll check that box. Or I have a concern about a player that I've seen on tape or measurables, and I need to see this person, and let's check that box so I can check it off. So in that regard, what have you heard about you through, I guess, evaluations that you've been asked to say, hey, give me a sense of whether I should be concerned about this about you, Dillon? You see where I'm going with that?
100%. I truly believe, just within my time, I think everyone has seen the 6 years of tape and have gathered a lot of information of the evolution of me as a player. Not only the success at 3 spots, but also responding through failure. And I think you can just see that through that 6-year progression. However, people naturally are going to talk about limitations, and that's their job. Scouts are looking how further back they can pick you, or, why maybe this player is better than another. And that's part of their homework and what they have to do. So I think it still goes down to who you want as a football player. And there's a lot more than just you being on the field, but, face of the franchise, a guy that's going to, represent the organization well. And I've done that all 3 places. And I think sometimes because there's a bunch of consistency, maybe there's a good enough amount of information to look at and be like, okay, we're good here. And maybe they don't need further information, but maybe that's kind of the tough part on my end. But, as you continue to go through this, you also realize that there's still 17 days and a lot can happen.
So, I mean, listen, I saw the height questions surrounding Kyler Murray. You wound up being first overall, and, and obviously he's gone a second contract, and the Cardinals are not concerned about that. How do you answer those questions when it comes to you, Dillon?
Yeah, I think you watch the tape. I've done it, and it hasn't been a limiting factor for me. I think if you watch and there is limitations because of height, then I think there's a conversation, but it hasn't happened in my career. And although I know I'm walking into some unknown and a spot where the best football players are gathering to compete, I know that there's going to be a level of me having to improve, but that's for everyone that's walking into the NFL. So I think what's helped me a bunch throughout my college journey has been just being eager to learn and staying true to that. And that's not going to change, but I've played a lot of ball, and it's never limited me.
Well, I mean, if somebody's from Hawaii and plays quarterback left-handed, they're going to get compared to Tua, and you have been. How do you take those comparisons, Dillon?
Yeah, I think he's a guy I definitely played against growing up, watched a bunch, and admired from afar. But naturally, that's going to happen. I think there's only a select few of lefties, so naturally, to the naked eye, that's the comparison. However, I think if you look at certain people's game, there's certain nuances that are different and similar. But just because we are lefties, of course, that's going to come through. But I'm definitely not opposed to that.
Dillon Gabriel here on the Rich Eisen Show. Man, listen, I'm a Michigan Wolverine, and you guys just laid it on us. And is it true Dan Lanning told you earlier in the week, going into the big house, stopped practice, and basically said, wait till we cause everyone to leave early, and then stopped in the game and pointed out Michigan fans leaving the big house early? Did that really happen, Dillon?
It did. We did practice it in a Wednesday practice as well. Before our third down period, he played a little music and told us to look in the stands. And granted, we're on our practice field, so we're looking at nothing, but you're envisioning something. And it's crazy. He called it out, so I give him credit. That dude called it before it happened, and it actually happened. So it was a lot of fun. So I'm sorry that it was Michigan, but
Dillon, you don't mean that.
They had it the year prior.
Nice. See, that's another comparison to Tua. You're too nice. So listen, you don't have to say that. But did he played Mr. Brightside, which is the song Michigan plays between third and fourth quarters? Did he play the actual song that Michigan plays, Dillon?
Yes, we tried to play every song that the opponent had for the week. Of course, we did the jump around with Wisconsin, definitely with Michigan, but we've done it with other teams as well to just get ourselves immersed in that environment prior to going into it.
And I was just saying that, I mean, when a coach says this is the way it's going to be, and then it turns out to be that way, I mean, that's when he's really got you, right? Like as a team, and just you're going to listen to him. I imagine, 100%. Right? Like that's it, right there?
100%. I think he just understands, this younger generation. Granted, he is younger, but he just understands where this thing's going. And, I give him a lot of props. He's probably, the closest I've got to an NFL environment. And you appreciate it. The ownership as players, and just the demand and consistent, challenging us day in and day out. And I think that's, honestly got me prepared for what I'm about to walk into. So he's a guy I'm very thankful for, has seen a bunch of guys who've played in the league and has coached them. So excited to be a part of that.
What do you think you're about
fraternity.
what do you think you're about to walk into? What do you think?
The best league, the tip of the top and what you want to be a part of. And you just, you dream of it, and my family and I have been talking about it a bunch, but the dream's just starting, and I look forward to what's to come. But this, as a competitor, you look forward to, you want to walk into, the best league and see what you're about, and continue to respond, because there's no better feeling than when you walk out there and you get that rush.
Well, if you don't mind me prying, what are you and your family talking about this moment?
Just all the work that's put into it, as a kid. And, I think as a kid, you dream and you dream big. And, as it consistently gets to this point where you're chasing it and it's almost here into fruition, you just appreciate the whole journey. And they've been a big part of it, in supporting me. And, it's going to be a special moment. But like we always say, it's just beginning. So it's kind of the fun part before it all starts.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, right, in this day and age of portals and COVID years and anything like that, that for you to say it's just started after you've got, you got 3 spots under your belt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not many people can say let me get this right here. Not many people can say that they've played in the Gasparilla Bowl, Boca Raton Bowl, Cheez-It Bowl, and the Rose Bowl. You know what I mean? Like that usually isn't something that's on your resume. And back when I started talking about this sort of stuff, 20 some odd years ago with NFL Network, anybody that stopped in 2-3 different spots, that was a problem. Now it's kind of part and parcel of the world, right, Dillon, these days?
100%. I think, your ability to be around different offenses and different coaches and adapt and create value and impact in all 3 spots, but then also having success. I think you look at a coach's journey, it's kind of becoming the same for a college football player's journey. And getting better each stop and continue to go and rise up within that sense. But I just think the more versatile you can be and the more football you can be around without it being maybe too much, right? Maybe like every single year, you just appreciate it, because you realize how much more there is to learn about football and the different styles of play. And then at the end of the day, you make it your own. So I'm appreciative. I've been around great coaches, and that's offensively and defensively, schematically, but also just the success they've had at multiple spots. So that's why I say, relating back to the coaching tree, you look at coaches that have worked for, a bunch of great coaches, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, like Coach Lanning, and Coach Venables, who's, been a great defensive coach, and then Coach Height, offensively just, creating a new lane for what's to happen. So I've been around a bunch of great coaches that, have really made me who I am.
Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, what a big finish, obviously, winning the Big Ten and going to the Heisman finalist podium, and now getting ready for the NFL draft. What is your draft plan? What do you got for me there, Dillon?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We'll take the phone call at my childhood home with just immediate family. And then once we get the call, we're kind of party busing over to my fiance's or my father-in-law's house. So we'll have a party there, and it's been where we kind of had our family get together. So it'll be a good time. It'll be in Hawaii too. So
yes,
that's kind of hard to beat, to be quite honest.
Yeah, draft party in Hawaii sounds great. Like, I know we just met, but I'll be busy. But other than that, I would love to be there. Are you kidding me?
I was just going to say, you're invited. All is welcome.
Okay, I appreciate that. Very, very good. And lastly, for you, Dillon, what is the team going to get if they draft you? Who are they getting if they draft Dillon Gabriel?
Yeah, they know what they're getting, and that's experience, a winner, a leader, but also a person who's eager to learn, and I think all 4 of those traits for me have blended into my 6 years of college, but also a fighter, one who's going to continue to respond and fight through adversity, but also, get on the right side of it. So I think the tape definitely speaks for itself. But I think it's much more than just who you are as a player at this point. It's who you are as a person, and marrying the two because they both go hand in hand. So, for many, it may be too safe, and some teams like to gamble, but sometimes what you need is right in front of you.
That's right. Sometimes being too safe is not what you want. The White Lotus finale is the perfect example. You know what I'm saying, Dylan? See what I'm saying? Okay.
Lachlan thought he was being safe.
Hey, be careful.
Hey,
come on,
hey,
stop it.
Hey,
I'm just saying, nothing happened to him, Dylan.
Hey.
Hold on a second, Dylan. Many people. I'm going to give you a rare opportunity at this time of your life right now. Is that a red flag? Are you going to hand a red flag to somebody there? That's a red flag.
I won't because it's a first time. However, if there's a double, then it'd be like, okay, you had your. But I will say this.
Yes, sir.
If in White Lotus there's a bunch of character development, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yet there's no ending to that character development. It leaves you on edge. Maybe they're doing that on purpose. However, it's weird, like the character development of our one guy we were talking about ends a certain way versus, a crew. So I think there needs to be more explanation for sure.
I absolutely agree. You read that like you read defenses expertly. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate the time. What a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for not red flagging me.
I'll do it.
You're my guy now, Dylan.
As soon as we end the Zoom, I will do it.
Faux life. That's my dude.
Thanks, Dylan. Best of luck.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll chat
Thank
soon.
you.
Good luck, man.
That's Dillon Gabriel.
That's
Everybody.
great.
Great to meet him. Right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.